It's the weekend, it's mailbag, and yes, that's right. This isn't the sound of Les, it's me, Warren. Les is away at the moment, so he wasn't able to fulfill his obligation of doing mailbag. So I've stepped in, basically forced myself in. I told Dave when he messaged me earlier, Dave, I'm hosting today, mate. So I've stepped in and I will be your host for mailbag this week. But as mentioned, I am joined by the brilliant Dave Darney and the wonderful Pete McFarlane. Dave, how are we? We all right?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm for once enjoying an international break. It's not normally that often I enjoy an international break. Because normally wrecks me head, when domestic footy's off and all that. But given the predicament and the situation we're in right now, I think we get to these stages, don't we? I mean, it's strange to have a third one before Christmas, third international break. There's normally two, and then they don't have one till March. But yeah, it's come at a welcome time, to be honest with you, because it's sort of like the calm before the storm, isn't it? When the games that we've got coming up in December, it'll be hard work not having a headache when it comes to Christmas Day.
Absolutely. I used to hate international breaks, used to despise
Yeah,
them. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but the last 6, 7 years, I've really actually quite enjoyed them. So I don't know if that's related to anything why I've
it's
all of a sudden
definitely Everton
started enjoying
related,
them
that
or
mate.
not. Um, and also joining us on Mailbag tonight, it's Pete McFarlane. Pete, I haven't spoken to you for a while, mate. How's things? How you doing? All right?
I'm good, yeah. No international break for me though, because I've got the Merseyside derby on Sunday at Goodison Park. So
Well, do you know what?
I've
Of course, we shouldn't say international break really, should we? Because they always work it where there's the women's game of play, the women's domestic game is still going on, and then vice versa. When it's the women's international break, the men's game's going. So in theory, or really, we don't have an international break, do we?
well, that's it. I never get a break from Everton, which is why I'm aging so terribly. But yeah, I'm good. I've spent the last few days, well, last few weeks really, or getting things organised for Sunday. So yeah, it's been non-stop, been all over the place today, sorting out lists, sorting out maps for flags and all kinds. So I'm keeping myself busy.
What's
It's
the
been.
situation with the
I was
tickets,
just about
Pete?
to ask. I
Yeah,
was just about, well, yeah, with the tickets also, but I was going to say as well with the women's team at the minute. I know it's a struggling season. I've watched a couple of games myself. I watched the West Ham game. Have we got a chance Sunday, Pete, do you reckon, or is it going to be tough, bearing in mind that we've sort of regressed a little bit, haven't we?
It'll be tough, yeah, but we've got every chance. I mean, I don't particularly rate Liverpool that highly. I think they had a good season last season. Probably wouldn't say a false position. They deserve to be where they ended up, but I don't think they're maybe as good as they think they are. So I think we've got every chance. Derby, isn't it? I know
And
our
we've
players are going
we've
to be right up for it.
we've
So
got
yeah,
a really good record against them as well, haven't we?
yeah, yeah. Well, that's
So
it. I mean,
every
I'm not going to underestimate Liverpool by any means, but I think our players know what this means to us. So I'm confident they'll put on a good performance, really good performance. But Dave, you asked about tickets. So tickets are still on sale. There's still
yeah.
tickets available. Adults £10 and kids just £2. Gladys Street is open now as well. So if you're free Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff, great chance to take the kids to go and see the Gladys Street if they haven't done already. Not many more opportunities to do that. So
was
yeah,
it
£10 for adults, £2 for kids.
You can't
there's
pay
only
when you
two
get there, though, can you?
Not sure. They haven't in the past. They haven't done walk-ups. Um, Last week against Chelsea, they did do walk-ups. I would recommend getting them now. To
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest with you, I'd say get them early just to make sure, just in case.
I'm barring a cup draw. There's only two Merseyside derbies left at Goodison ever, and this is one of them. So it's a really
Yeah,
good opportunity, as you
Yeah.
say, Pete, to get down there and support the girls because they have had a struggling season, but I certainly don't think they're as bad as what the table suggests. I know we're bottom at the minute, but I think they'll start getting a few points and start climbing up that league, definitely. So I think
that's it.
if
One win
everyone
and you
can,
fly up that league. One win. That's all you
absolutely.
need. You fly up.
So yeah, everyone, if they can get down there and support them, I think that'd be a really good occasion on Sunday. I'll certainly be watching myself.
Mm.
Anyway, listen, I'm gonna start moving on because we've had a load of questions again. We've also had a load of questions. I want to say, Dave, for the first time on Blue Sky.
I know, yeah, Blue Sky, mate. Which I know you haven't jumped onto it because you're trying to stop. Let's say stop. You're trying to lower the amount of social media you have. I think a
Well,
lot. I think a lot of people are starting to do that. To be honest with you, but what's good about this is I think it's a lot more clear and it feels a lot more fresh than it does on X or Twitter, whatever people know it as now. There's no bots on it. There's, you haven't got load. Well, basically, it's going back to the start of what Twitter was like. You remember Twitter when it first came out? Everyone was raving over
Yeah, it
it.
was great, wasn't it? Yeah.
But then you started getting all sorts of nonsense and all that, like you do these days, with abuse and DMs and all that. This thing it just seems to have been like Twitter's restarted again, and there's been none of that nonsense yet. Do you know what I mean? And it's great because the Blue Room's on it as well. I think Les started up our account on there, so make sure you go and follow us on that. But yeah, I think eventually it'll overtake what X and Twitter is simply because of Elon Musk anyway.
Well, I was going to say Elon's app is what's having a hell of a year, isn't it, for winding people up? But I'll certainly be maybe think about it. I'm at that stage in my life where, do you know what I mean? I've had the Snapchat and I'm too grown out of that. I'm not going anywhere near TikTok. I've been Facebook, I've been Instagram, and I'm just like that now. I'm thinking, do I need another social media in my life? But
You're
listen,
not
if
doing a
enough
dance
people,
now. You don't fancy doing a TikTok dance with me now?
no, God, no, I'm too old
Do you
for all
remember
that.
MySpace? Do you remember
I've met,
MySpace?
I had Bebo. Do you remember Bebo?
Bebo, my word.
I had Bebo, yeah. I had that when I was a teen. That was like, for those of you who are too young to remember, that's like this day and age is TikTok, but like a hybrid, wasn't it, of TikTok and Facebook, really? It was a
Yeah,
bit of a mix, wasn't it?
yeah.
You could put music videos and all sorts on there. It was all right back in the day, but yeah, I had a Bebo account. So yeah, I just thought I've got to that point now. I heard you ask the question the other day, you and Les, and you were saying, at what point do you become an Everton dar? I think this is the first time in my life I'm starting to transition into Everton dar. So that's me off the blue sky thing. I'm barely hanging on to X. So there we go. But listen, we'll go into the questions because we've had some really, really good ones. Had some proper mailbag questions this week, some really good mailbag style ones that I love. They're always my favourite questions on here. So I'm going to start off with our mate Dan Vane, who's
Yeah.
loves Sean Dyche, by the way, Dan. And he said this week I've shaved off my beard for the first time in a while. I'm thinking about it as well, Dan. I realised to my dismay, I look like Gail Tilsley or Gail Platt, for those of you who remember when she was Gail Platt. What was your worst haircut and what Coronation Street lady do you look like? Dave, I'm going to come to you on this, probably unfairly first, because without, being honourable to you, you haven't got much on top anymore, have you, mate? So go on, what's your worst
Neither do I,
haircut
to
you've
be
ever
fair to
had?
Dave.
It's come. Yeah, well, he's wearing a hat, so he's bottled it. But it,
Tactics.
it's funny. It is funny you say this, because I've almost gone completely gone now. It looks like I've got like half of it I haven't cut, but that's because I'm right next to the window. It's obviously dark outside, but it's a normal shave there now. So I'm almost completely gone, thinking that I look like an absolute idiot, which I did. Because I used to have like, well, obviously you doesn't know anyway. I used to have like a patchy hair and all that. Made it honestly look like Friar Tuck. So the worst I had, I think, I tried to hang on to it till about, I don't know, properly hang on to it till about 2 years ago. Where the way you've got your nice little comb over there, Warren, right? Where you're just flicking it across like that. I did that at the front and I thought that looks smart. But it's the fact that I'm bald at the back. It was like I was thinking people will just think I'm off my head when they look from behind me. On the front when I'm talking straight on, I thought I look all right there. But it looks like I had a wig on at the front and not at the back. So yeah, I went far too long with that, mate. I should have just went with what I have now. It takes a lot of getting used to though. I have to be honest, because I suffer with psoriasis, or did anyway. So I used to be paranoid when I was a kid. Like if I didn't cover it up, do you know what I mean? Start getting the piss
Mm.
taken out of me at school. And luckily enough, I don't really have it now. It goes bad in the summer, because your skin's dry.
Yeah.
So like I kept my hair as long as I could, as long as the hair I can get, as long as it possibly could. But then like it just had to, like my missus there, she's saying, listen, social activities, people are going to start turning you down unless you sort that out. Also yours, people are going to start not letting you go into bars and all that because you just look like a weirdo. So yeah, last week I just got the clippers out. Never used the ones without putting the clip on, just the ones that you'd have a shave with. And I just thought, go on then, I'll give it a go. Did it. And yeah, I think I don't know if you've seen it. Somebody, when was I on with Les on Blue Monday, but we did it on Tuesday. Someone commented on it on our YouTube and gave me a massive praise. He said something like, "I'm really glad you've finally taken the plunge, Dave," or something like that. And I was sat there thinking, if people didn't see me, they'd wonder what that fella's actually on about.
What
It
you
wasn't
mean you've
necessarily me hair; it could
received?
be absolutely anything.
You got an actual positive comments. Like, I mean,
I
I
know
don't
what's
think they
going on there,
existed on
mate.
social media. Positive
And it wasn't
comments.
even me. It wasn't even me giving them.
Do you know what though, Dave? I have to say, like, if I all of a sudden got a bick out now and I just did this to my hair, I'd look like I was ill. And I think you pull it off quite well. I think it does
Oh.
have to come to a time like you've done, and you've just got to go one. But I think you pull it off quite well, mate.
I think when you get to, again, you're talking about Everton Dars, getting to a certain age. I mean, I look a hell of a lot older, but I turn 37 next month, and there is a point where, I don't know, you have a certain paranoia about that your hair and that, don't you? Which is, I don't know, like, I don't know if most lads would say that, to be honest with you. But like, I used to think really consciously about it, and then thought, you know what? In the end, I was like, is anyone really that arsed? It doesn't change me as a person or anything like that. Not to go too deep into it, but then when I did it, I felt sound. I felt like it's. I'm not going to go and get an ear transplant. I'm not going to fly over to Turkey, am I? So I might as well just sort it out when I can at home, get the bick out and all that, and save yourself a load of money. How much do you pay for the haircut one?
Well,
Look at his
16 quid.
face there. He pays a few
Six.
quid for that,
Do you
doesn't
know
he?
And he
what?
does,
So I'm very lucky because we've got a history in our family of all the fellas have got thick hair, but the trouble is we go grey very early. Now you can't
Yeah,
quite see it on the camera here because the camera's making me look quite good here for once. But
conveniently.
all on the sides here now I've got these little grey little twizzles coming through.
Yeah.
And they grow, but they seem to be more and more each day. So I'm giving it probably another 2, 3 years before I'm going to start getting it all on top here and whatever. So when
Don't
you're
pluck
saying
them.
about you, oh well, you can't now. There's too many of them. But
Yeah, but
I got.
that's why, because you started plucking them.
No, it's not. It's stress and supporting Everton. That's what it is. But I'm very lucky in that sense, so I don't have to worry. I don't think about losing any hair. But I'm very wary about what I say next, considering I'm talking to you two. But Pete, go on. What's been the worst haircut you've had? And is it ever been like a woman from Coronation Street, one of the characters? That
Take
was
that
Dan's
hat
Oh,
off.
question.
I mean, first of all, I have to say to Dan how utterly disappointed I am that he got rid of his beard because I've been
Dan
trying
had
to
a
catch
great
him up.
beard.
I've been trying to catch him up for so long, and it's probably the first time in my life I've ever had a longer beard than Dan. So yeah, my condolences, Dan. I'm missing it already, even though I haven't seen you without it. Um, yeah, moving on. The worst haircut. Now it's all retrospective, isn't it? Because looking back at it, at the time, I used to go and work in Spain in the summers. I mentioned this loads of times, but I used to work in Spain in the summers, and it was like this certain stage where it was like, when people used to get like not like a mullet, but used to get like the side shaved, and then you go down to a bit of a point at the back and all that. Used to think used to have your hair all gelled and all that. Well, I went one step further and ended up getting blonde tips in my hair. And
I'd
as
pay
I
to see
say, at the
that. I would.
time,
I'd pay to see that.
I'll send you the photo, Dave. It's you
What do you mean
yeah.
send me? That's the photo of this now. This show is going to
That's
have
the
that photo
thumbnail.
of you.
That's the thumbnail on
Oh, you
X,
don't
Blue
know. It
Sky,
can't
whatever.
be that. But so basically, if you can imagine, because I was working in the bars in Spain in the summer. I mean, to be fair, it worked. It worked a treat. Um, yeah, but in retrospect now, it's probably one of the most embarrassing photos that exists of me. But yeah, I've kind of gone the other way now, where I look just like Dave. I clung on for as long as I could. Probably not helped by the fact I was putting bloody bleach in my hair every 6 months or so. But yeah, I didn't used to do the whole thing, by the way. It was literally just the ends. And then anyway, and yeah, but again, I tried to sort of cling on to my hair for as long as I could. And I think as well, when you are actually losing it and it's going thin on top, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't really see what everyone else sees. Like you think it looks sound. And it's only what used to always hit me was I'd see myself in a photograph and the photo used to be like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just got to the stage where it was like, right, today's the day and this is the last haircut I'm ever going to have because after this, I'm just going to shave it. And yeah, I do miss it.
That's
But,
it.
but I'm slightly differently though. I know a few people who've been to Turkey, got their hair done. And to be fair, it's worked. So at some point, if I ever feel like getting my blonde tips back, I might get over to Turkey.
Yeah,
I have
it's
to say, I think the pair, yeah, pulled it off well. having, and I'm not saying this to be, all cocky because I've got my hair or whatever,
Yeah, you
but the
know.
pair is,
Yeah,
well, I am a little bit, but the pair
you're
is pull it
Ivory
off.
Tower.
Pair is pull it off really
Do you
well.
know? Do you know? Oh, we missed the after question about who you look like on
I
Cody.
Yeah,
don't watch
which
Coddy, so I can't answer that
I
bit.
mean, I can only go for one person. Those are probably older fans who still watch it because I don't think he's in it. I don't know if he passed away actually, but me being a big fella, like absolutely Fred Elliott. He's the butcher. I don't know if anyone remembers him. I
I say
say,
Ashley.
yeah. I,
Oh,
Yeah.
you could be his son, Warren. You could be his son, Ashley. Do you remember Ashley?
Ashley Peacock. Do you know what? I was brought up on Coronation Street. My nan loved it, and it was because it was northern and because it was, fairly local. And Brookside. I was
Yeah,
brought up on Brookside as well. But I
yeah,
think back now, all the time I wasted watching soaps. I couldn't think of anything worse to watch now.
yeah.
But those of you who, so he did say, I know yours, and I think that's a great shout about Fred Elliott, but he said, which
Thanks, mate.
Coronation Street lady do you look like? I look a little bit like with my hair at the minute, Gail Platt, the way it's all going mad and a little bit gerbil looking. So I'm due a cut. I need to get mine done soon. But anyway, moving on.
show
Thanks for the
off.
questions, Sam. Brilliant question there. Question from Stuart Guy. He says, you're shipwrecked on a sandbank crossing the Mersey en route to Bramley Moor from Oblong. What skills are you bringing to the Robinson Crusoe party to help the team survive? Pete?
Well, I could probably build a fire, maybe. I used to, I was in the Cub Scouts, so I was able to, I used to go camping and stuff like that. So we were taught how to create fire. Thankfully, I grew out of that phase, and the charges were never brought. But yeah, I reckon I could build a fire. I reckon, and yeah, keep us all warm. Maybe not on a sandbank in the middle of the maze, Maybe fishing, grab a few fish.
Well, the Mersey's clean now and fish are swimming back in it, aren't they? After
Yeah.
hundreds of
Yeah,
years or something, I heard. We've been swimming in it for about 10 years now, so you
I saw
could
dolphins
fish
the
in the
other year.
Mersey.
I saw
Yeah.
dolphins. Well, or I don't think they were dolphins. There was something else, but they're basically dolphins. But there's another word for them. I saw them from Otterspool about 2, 3 years ago.
But you actually
Just
saw the dolphins.
I've got a video. I can send you the video. Yeah,
Really? Wasn't it?
yeah,
Wasn't
zoomed
it?
in.
There was an octopus there as well at some point. There was an octopus in the Leeds
Octopus.
Liverpool Canal in Bootle. Yeah, that was
Was there?
probably our most relevant thing in the
There's a
Echo.
whole marine life in Liverpool at the
I was
minute.
gonna say,
You
mate,
don't
marine
realise.
life, and rather than going to a pet shop. Yeah, that's the
How
first
big
time.
was the octopus?
Well,
What?
it had 8 legs, didn't
What?
it?
How big was it? Was it like a little tiny octopus, or because like I know the size of a dolphin or whatever what porpoise are they called porpoises? It's like the fake dolphin, one of them. Anyway, but like an
A
octopus, I
fake
automatically
dolphin. What's
I
a
I
fake
auto,
dolphin?
well,
Some
it's like
blind
the it's
dolphin
like the
there, mate.
Wish, like when you order a dolphin off Wish. So, but then wasn't there a thing? Because I always think about octopus. Like you've got like the little tiny squid things, haven't you? But then you've got an octopus, which is like, I'm thinking, um, something out of Pirates of the Caribbean or something. Like what?
Like
How
that
big was the
Kraken.
octopus in the Mersey?
I can't recall, mate, to be honest with you. I never looked too close into the size of it, unlike you did, sort of getting a book out and finding out what other type of dolphins there are.
No, do you know what it was? It's because I posted it. And I was like, oh, I've just seen dolphins in the Mersey, and because Twitter is that place, I got like people who didn't even follow me saying that's not a dolphin, that's a whatever it
A
was,
porpoise.
yeah. And I was like, dolphin, mate.
Dave, what are you bringing to help us survive anyway on this
Oh, mate,
Robinson Crusoe style trip?
absolutely useless, mate.
Same,
I'd
mate. I'm the
definitely be
same.
at the bottom of the pile and just being whatever I'm told to do. I'd be going and doing it, mate, reluctantly so. Anything that required swimming. I was a decent swimmer back in the day, to be honest with you. Anything regarding that in the middle of the Mersey, probably after like a few nappies had fallen in my head or something like that. Given how the Mersey was back in the day, I can't imagine you'd see too many dolphins back in the day, would you? Do you know what I mean? But is it actually meant to be getting clean now? Is it?
No, I've heard a while back now, this is going years back, that it's the cleanest. I mean, it might have changed now with all the water pollution we've had in recent
I was
years,
about to
but
say, yeah,
I've
it
heard that
was.
it got to a point where it was it's been the cleanest it's been in forever. And there was fishing, everything live fish and whatever swimming in and again, and people could go fishing. And apparently we were getting fake dolphins and octopus there as well. So that points to a clean river. Now I'm like you, Dave, I'm useless. I bring morale, I think. to the
Yeah,
team.
you are that type of person, mate.
Important,
That'd be
important
my best quality.
aspect. Yeah.
Well, when you're starving and you need warmth and there's no fire and no food, I think morale would wear a bit thin. I'd be like that fella. What was it on? I don't watch it, but where I've seen the clip on Love Island where he goes, "Would anyone like me to break the mood by rapping right now?" That'd be me.
Oh,
I'd be trying.
that was on Love Island, wasn't it?
Yeah, anyway, that'd be
No,
me. That.
Unfortunately,
it was that Chris Hughes, wasn't it? He's done well with himself, hasn't he? He's one of the hosts on the horse racing on ITV.
I don't
was
know.
yeah.
I
I
don't
was going
know.
to
Yeah,
say
I've
that the
seen him.
only problem,
He's the horse racing on ITV. Mm.
yeah, the only problem you've got there, Warren, is that at some point morale will be that low. You won't be able to pick us all up, and if we haven't got food, you know, your head's on the chopping block, literally.
Yeah, that's it. It'd go a little bit.
I've seen
What's
that film alive.
Lord of the
Yeah,
Flies or something.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and all
And
that. Yeah, it's
I
about.
know how to make fire, so I'm all right.
You're all right. Yeah, there's an English literature reference for
Yeah.
all you English subject fans out there.
I'll
Anyway,
be
next
cooking. I'll
question.
be cooking your leg like Jeffrey Dahmer.
and and a serial killer reference as well for the books.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
Just throw that in there.
Next,
Right, yeah.
got another great question here, by the way. Another very good mailbag question. I like this one. This is from Steve Sheenan, and he said Pharrell Williams' biopic is filmed using Lego, and Robbie Williams' biopic has Robbie played by a CGI monkey. What animal or thing would you have playing in your biopic, Dave?
Thinking of fake dolphins, to be honest with you. What animal would I have playing me in like what?
Or a thing,
Yeah,
because he said, Pharrell Williams has had, or Pharrell Williams, sorry for that's how it's pronounced in it. He's using Lego. So would you use something maybe along those lines or an
yeah.
animal?
I saw this actually. He was on he was on Graham Norton last week talking about this. He got very deep about it as well, talking about how we can start portraying his personality and all that sort of thing using Lego. um, I'd probably go in line with Toy Story. So I'd love to be Rex on Toy Story.
It's a good
'Cause
shout, that. That's a great shout.
I think like he's the most bubbly one on there. Do you know what I mean? I think he's given a hard time by everyone else on that. Do you know what I mean? Because like Potato is a bully. By the way, he bullies him. He's like it's not a good example for kids because he calls them names and all that. Do you know what I mean? And when he gets his wife, doesn't he? In the he gets his wife in the second one, doesn't he? And that's when
Yeah.
he eases off a little bit, like. But he's an angry potato. I don't even know why I'm saying this. He's an
Angry
angry,
potato.
he's an angry spud. Do you know what I mean? But he calls Rex like Godzilla and all stuff, properly taking the piss out of Rex. So I reckon I'd be Rex. If I was to compare myself to a toy, think I'm a bit bubbly, and I'd like to think I'm quite a friendly person. But
I think
yeah, I'd like to go up one with the Spud because
I think I like the idea of this because I think I've seen like I've seen biopics and whatever of people and it's either someone playing them or themselves, isn't it? And I think this is a great idea actually. For it's a bit different, a bit fresh, isn't it? Pete, what are
yeah,
you going for? Who's playing you? What's happening with you, mate?
Who's playing me? Like an
Or what are
animal
you animal or thing? What are you doing?
or thing? I don't know. Probably just like a sloth. Like those really like slow moving sloth things who
sloth.
just chill out in trees and like, you know what I
You've
mean?
gone through the animal kingdom today, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Just I'd get David Attenborough to narrate and yeah,
Your life
just like a
story as you're a sloth.
as I'm a
Sloth.
sloth in a tree. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically with just stuff happening around me, like a sloth like crawling to the match, and sitting at the match and then crawling home, and
I
then
mean, I don't.
occasionally smiling. You ever seen a sloth smile, by the way?
Oh, they've got
Sloth.
a massive smile, haven't they?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have. They,
they're
they
really
look
happy
sad though.
creatures.
The eyebrows make
Yeah,
them look sad. Do you know, I've seen it always ends up with me on Instagram. When you see like animals in really like places where they look like they're gonna die, but someone goes and
oh,
saves them, mate. Honestly, it's heartbreaking.
I
And
had
I always
to,
think
I had to, I had to block them
I
accounts because
know, yeah,
I
but
can't handle it.
they always end up in like nice stories. But like
Yeah,
I go a bit further and start thinking, say if that wasn't done, do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
you're obviously very lucky if somebody's got like an early caring person would help. Like when
I
you
always
see, when you see
I
like
always
little
think why isn't the
ducklings.
person recording helping as well though?
I know, well, when you see like ducklings crossing over and all that,
Oh,
and
mm.
they end up falling down a grid and all that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, stay away from them.
Well, just finishing off Steve's question here. I've always my favorite show of all time has always been The Simpsons. I'd love if I ever got famous and they asked me to be on the show and voice, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But if I could have a biopic of my life, I'd want to be characterized as in the Simpsons universe
Ah,
and
I
them
like that.
do yeah, and them
Yeah.
do my character and my voice and all that, and me going the match and doing all that. I think that'd be great. But I'm starting to. This question's got me thinking about it now. I think that'd be brilliant. But yeah, do you know what? I might try and see if I can see some of that because I think just from a curiosity point of view more than anything, it'd be good to see
Yeah.
one of them. Anyway, moving on. Next question because we haven't got I know too much longer, but here we go. We've got a bit longer. From our very own Les Roberts, the usual presenter of Mailbag, he said, if you were going to commit a crime, what would your disguise be? Now, this has come from a news story this week. I don't know if you've seen this. It's absolutely brilliant. There was, I might have it wrong, but Les has posted the link to the story. They tried to do an insurance scam. So I think they damaged, this is in America, obviously, or Canada somewhere. And the car had got damaged, the car had been damaged. And what they did, they got the mate or someone to put a bear costume on and they've got one of them like ring doorbells or whatever, or the CCTV filming this fella in a costume, like climbing over the car and causing damage. And then what they did, they got in touch with the insurance and said, wildlife's, done this to the car. Can we get it fixed via the insurance sort of thing? And anyway, they found out that it was a fella dressed in a bear costume, and there's a picture of the bear costume. Les has put the link in, and it's absolutely brilliant. And do you know what? For effort alone, I would have let them off. But yet, if you
Yeah,
were going to
definitely.
commit a crime, what are you dressing up as to disguise yourself? Are you going to do the old, the old specs and
Yeah.
wig and all that, or what's it going to be, Pete? What are you going for?
I mean, a wig would be a really good, a really good one for me, because I just wouldn't. I'd have a shave and wear a wig,
Mate,
or something
you're
like.
doing it right now. You're doing it right now. You've got a beard and a cap on. Don't even look like you.
Oh, well, that's what it is, isn't it? I just have a shave and wear a wig. I think
Yeah.
that'd be enough. Don't think anyone remembers what I look like.
Mm.
I'd make sure I didn't have blonde tips in the wig, just in case anyone could trace it back to Facebook circa 2006. But I was going to say the another one. Come back to me on that one. I've
I'll
always got a
come.
thing about. Do you know what I've always wanted to buy? I've always wanted to buy one for like fancy dress or
Sloth
just leisurely.
costume.
A Batman costume, but like like a proper one, not like like a spandex type one. Like oh, here's my
Prop.
dog.
A proper
Like a
one.
proper one with like the proper armor on it. You know what I mean? Like those like fluffy ones you can get these
Yeah.
days. I really
Some of
want a
the
Batman costume.
like
So
The Val Kilmer one where he had the nipples on it.
that was George Clooney. Yeah,
Was
but
it? Yeah.
yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like a proper Batman costume.
So you don't want
I'd love to
you
own
don't
one.
want the Adam West '60s sitcom style Batman now.
Proper crotch
No, no,
effort
no,
that
no,
one,
no,
wasn't
no.
it?
Like Dark Knight, Christian Bale, Batman suit. I'd love one. I mean, I don't know what I'd ever do with it because I don't really go to parties because I don't drink. So I'd say just for being around the house or committing crime. You know, who's going to expect Batman to be committing crime at the end of the
Yeah,
day?
that's a good point. Good
Lull them
point.
into a false sense of security and then bam.
Yeah.
It just crossed my mind when you were talking then, and I won't go too much into the story because it was quite a horrible event what happened, but there was a fella years ago, and I think ITV made a documentary about it. He got wrongfully arrested for murder, and he put obviously his face was everywhere. And they realised he'd made a massive mistake. It wasn't him, but he was getting absolutely terrorised, and people were calling him all sorts. So he had to completely. I think he had like really white grey hair because he was quite an old fella, and he had to completely dye it black. And he said one of the reasons he did it was because to get away just from the abuse and to people, not thinking it's him, not thinking it was him. And then it made me think of Dan. Dan's question earlier with him shaving his beard. I bet your Dan's unrecognisable now. So you
Yeah.
could probably shave your beard, Pete, and you'd be all right to commit anything you wanted. Dave, what are
Yeah.
you dressing up
Go
as
with Batman.
to if you were
Just
committing a
just
crime? What are you doing?
just before I tell you my answer on that, what you've just done is reminded me of something there. And again, it's like it's a horrible story, but in the States, and I'll post the link on this actually. There's this fella, there's this girl who like they never able to find, and I think they ended up finding her in a lake somewhere, right? It's obviously sound quite gruesome this, but on the news they put like like they're trying to catch him. Do you know what I mean? He's on the run, and someone's put like everything about him. Do you know what I mean? Like 6 foot whatever tall and all that, right? And it's put, this is what he looks like, and they put a picture of they put a picture of a hamster up, and you can just hear you put this hamster on, and like you can just hear all the producers in the background just absolutely pissing themselves laughing, and you got the presenter just pissing herself, and she's just gone, "Well, that's clearly not him. We'll find you another picture." But it was like a hamster, like action clip things. It's like just a little hamster with that. It's honestly, mate, it's hilarious. But
I've seen the one where the describing the newsreaders describing the suspect of whatever the crime is, and they put the picture up, and it looks exactly like him. The newsreader looks the exact same of him. Yeah,
I've
no,
seen that one. I thought that's where Dave was going with
yeah,
his.
that's what I thought you
That
were
was
going as
brilliant.
well.
no, yeah,
That's what I thought you were
I'll
going.
send you the link to that when we have the break in a second. But just before we go to it, I'd do something like a bush or a tree. Do you know what I mean? I'd obviously fit in a tree. You've seen Lord of the Rings, haven't you?
Yeah, like an
Yeah,
ent.
yeah, one of the ends at the end, like you could easily get
Yeah,
away with being a tree. Do you know what I mean? I reckon I could find a decent tree costume or a bush. So you
yeah.
basically like you just need on the top half here where you can just kneel down. Do you know what I mean? So you got like all the leaves above you and all that. Go nick your stuff, park in front of it or whatever. Even like there's a bit of few leaves and stuff like that outside where you've robbed it. Just get down there, sit off. I think you'd be absolutely fine, to be honest with you. So I'd be a tree.
Yeah, so you wouldn't need a quick getaway, would you? Because you could just
Exactly.
hide
Just sit there and
in plain
watch. You know what I
sight.
mean? I'll sit here
I'd
now. I'll
imagine
see how things unfold.
you'd be quite warm as well, wouldn't you? Because you'd have
Exactly.
like all
Yeah.
that, yeah,
You can have
shrubbery and everything
you could
around
have
you.
a
Yeah,
piss if you needed one as well.
yeah, be all right. There we go. We've given some criminal masterminds some ideas there. Well, listen, it's been an eventful first half of the show. We've talked about a lot of random stuff, and it's been very, very mailbag, very good mailbag so far. So look, what we're going to do, we're going to take a little break. To you lot listening, especially on the podcast, the break will last about a second, and then we'll be back on talking loads of shite again. But we're going to have a little 10-minute break here, get ourselves a little brew and that. And then we've got some more questions, including the Maggie round, which is the first set of blue sky questions we've had. We've also got some other cracking questions. We've got the odd football question about a certain referee. It's been in the news. I don't know what's happened, but there's a certain referee being in the news this week. So we've got some questions related to that. So yeah, join me, Dave, and Pete very shortly. Let us know. Les wants to know as well what adverts come up if you're watching on YouTube. He's always into that for some reason. I don't know why, but he wants to know what adverts come up. So if you're watching us on YouTube and an advert does come up, let us know. And we'll be back in a minute when we've had our break. See you soon. Welcome back. Second half of Mailbag. Very interesting first half. Got some belter questions coming up as well. I'm going to start though, lads, with the Maggie rounds. And this is the first, if I'm right, Maggie round that we've had on Blue Sky. So here we go. In honor of Blue Sky, what's the weirdest thing you've ever had to move, Dave?
Oh, hmm. Do you know what? Go to Pete first on this.
Go on, Pete. Have you got something? Have you moved anything weird lately or before? It's an interesting question, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of like even just any context of what would constitute weird. Um, I don't
Well, for
know.
instance, last night, I'd say what I had to do. So,
Maggie's absolutely done me there.
yeah, well, that's it. What I had to do last night. So, the cat has gone into the food bag, got one of them food bags, recyclable food bags. We put all your waste foods in, then you take it out and you put it in your food bin. Cat's got into it. So I thought she's just made a little scratch on the side of it. Thought, no problem. That's fine, whatever. So I've tied it up. Thought, well, I don't want to get into it anymore. She's obviously after something in there. So I tied it up, go to take it out the bin. So as I'm walking out to the back door to go where the bins are, I've just heard this, thump, and all the food has gone from underneath the bag and dropped on the floor. And when I say food, we had the Chinese the other night, and I'm talking
Oh,
wings from the chicken wings, the bones, I'm talking pieces of toast. I'm talking bits of yogurt pots and stuff from yogurt. I'm talking your classic bin juice. So I had to try and maneuver everything from the floor into another food bag and then take that out. So after, I think this was on Wednesday night, so as you can imagine, full day at work, knackered, come home, you just want to sit and chill, don't you? And I've had to clean up all that just because the cat decided it wanted something in the bag. So that was the weirdest thing I've had to move this week anyway. So I don't know if that
Okay,
gives you any ideas, lads, of
okay,
something that you've.
yeah, okay. On that note, I do yeah, something. It's cat related. See, that's all I needed. I needed a thread to go off.
You
So
with
I
animal.
remember we used to have these trees at the bottom of the garden, in my mum's, and we had the cat at the time. And basically, these trees were getting too big, so we had them chopped down. And after the trees had gone, we realised that the cat had made like a little den in the corner of the garden, where this old bench used to be, and the tree had grown over it. Anyway, so once I'd cleared everything out after the trees had gone and pulled the bench out, I found this den and basically just found like a load of decapitated pigeons. So it was it was basically like skeletons of pigeons that she collected over the years. So yeah, probably the weirdest thing I've ever had to move is some dead pigeons and pigeon heads.
Dave,
I've
any
got
advance
one.
on pigeon heads?
No, no, no.
Pigeon
It's
heads, yeah. Like
the
that one in
sort
the back of
of.
the Bullens.
I'll go quick two parts of this, right? When we got married in Vegas last year, and in the night time, obviously, go out for tea and all that. You know what I mean? And back to the hotel and whatnot. 2 nights of marriage and all that sort of thing. People probably understand which way you're supposed to go, kind of thing. And I got that bladdered. I ended up I ended up falling asleep in the shower. With this no
Stan-
with the shower still on, right? I'd knocked it everywhere, absolutely knocked it all over the place, right? Wake up at about 4 in the morning, and it's just all over me. Do you know what I mean? It's like just but all over the bathroom. So obviously, I'm trying to say that like, oh, you know what? It's a pretty obvious thing that you have to clean up. So all the sick and all that, right? But it gets worse. I stood up, and obviously the whole floors. But I'm not trying to make it too gruesome to people, too like horrible to people like. But the floor's wet, obviously soaking wet with the shower. It's mixed in with everything that like I would come out of me, right? And obviously I needed the toilet, and I was still bladdered. So I don't know what there's about. Your average when you're walking in your bathroom, how far are you from the toilet? I don't know, like a couple of yards.
Oh, yes,
So
five steps
I walked
max.
over to the toilet, and do you know the way like this is gonna sound weird? Do you know the way like nice toilets have ceramic toilet seats, not plastic ones like most
Yeah.
people in nice hotel, like you know. So I walked over, bit of man in my neck while I'm doing this, right? And I slipped on the pile of water slash sick, and my knee cracked against, like proper battered against this ceramic. It,
Oh, so you've damaged it.
it split off, it ripped off, and it's at the New York hotel, and obviously you have to put a few £100 in before you go into your room when you first get there, which you get back when they've checked the hotels and decent nick and all that. So I'm like, what I'm gonna do here? Like it cracked in half and it came completely off the toilet. So I had two pieces of this of the toilet seat, you know what I mean? Rough
Ceramic
hard pieces
toilet.
of ceramic. So it's not like the kind of thing I could have gone and got a bit of plastic and sellotaped it together or anything like that, do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, what am I gonna do here? Obviously just going through, we couldn't get to sleep, not about in the afternoon the next morning. Like obviously she gets up and she's going, what's going on in there? I said, well, obviously you can see what's gone in there. Like I said, do you reckon that's all right? You know, when the maids come into the cleaners come in to sort out your room and all that. And she went, well, yeah, they do it. No, they must see that. It's Las Vegas. They must see sort of like weird stuff. I say weird stuff. They must see like stuff like that.
Normal to them, but weird to us every
Yeah,
day.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, not just not your average Friday night in your house. You know what I mean? So this is terrible. This and I really like I've thought quite quite a lot about this. But what was doing my head in was, we've got a lovely suite while we're there, and it's got a jacuzzi in the room and all this, right? It's massive. The room's huge, but you know the way Do Not Disturb you put on the side. So when you're going out for the day, you take it off so they come in and clean your room, right?
Yeah.
But there was a couple of times before that we left it off and they hadn't come in, the bed hasn't been done and all that. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we left the room trashed. Do you know what I mean? Maybe like I don't know, a couple of bottles on the floor or whatever, or bag of crisps, something like that. No one's gone on a mad one. So I thought, I can get onto this here, right? I thought, you know what? What I'll do is I'll get the toilet seat and I'll put it, where you lift the lid up and at the back where the water goes into your toilet. I thought I'll put one half of it in there and I'll put the other half of it underneath the bed because they haven't been cleaning it. And then I just thought that's fine. I'll just leave it rest until the end of the holiday, till we go the end of the honeymoon before we go home and all that. So I'm getting to like 9 and 10 days. We come home on the 10th day. And I'm getting nervous going down to reception, to sign out and get your money back and all that. And obviously they go and just make sure everything's fine. It was a really nice room, so they've gone up and had a look at it first, like. So I've thought, this is terrible. I thought I'd go in there earlier in the day, put the seat back where it was, so you could get it together. You couldn't obviously see it was cracked. Where you put it together. It would
Yeah.
only be when you attempt to go back and use the toilet that it would be cracked. So I'm thinking, if I do that as late as I possibly can before we have to sign out, there's no way that one of the cleaners is going to go in
There's
and
notice
sort
it.
that
Yeah.
out. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to get away with this, you know what I mean? Taxi, straight to the airport, give me $400 back that we had to pay, get on the plane, see you next year kind of thing. And lo and behold, standing in the queue, standing at the reception waiting, and they come down, and obviously they've got the number of our room that we're in.
Yeah.
And the cleaner come down and said, oh, everything's fine in the room and all that, but we found something. We found that there's a problem. And I'm like, just went massive red faced. And she said, oh, the toilet seat's broken. And I'm not joking. Like, them at reception, the concierge and all that, they just turn on and they turn around and say, what's happened there, sir? Do you know anything's happened? I was like, I don't know. I've never seen it. And I couldn't say anything. So I was just like, what do I
Humbling.
say? What do I say? And Haley's walked away, like, just put her head down and walked away, like, the absolute shame of this. And I'm standing there.
So did you
And
get away with it?
no, I didn't. No, I never got away with it, mate. I had
No,
to
you had to
pay
pay
for
it.
it. I
Oh
know,
no.
but like they're saying,
I thought you were going to do a big reveal then that you did one to
oh
the airport and you got
Say
away
you
with it.
messed up. It's
no, mate.
America, mate. You could have said, all you had to do was say that the toilet seat broke when you were on it and you were too, and and
Yeah.
basically
Oh,
say you'd fallen on the floor, that you were
it's
in agony.
Yeah, it was their
You
absolute,
fault.
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's America. They would
absolute
have panicked.
amateur effort.
They would have let
I,
you off.
yeah, it
They
was an
would, they
absolute
would have
amateur
panicked. You were
effort
going
from
to
me, like, just completely let the side down. But
shocking.
yeah, I just remember, like, I will never forget looking at people at that reception. There's a queue as well, people who are signing in, and I'm just
Yeah.
stood there like that, and I just wanted the world to swallow me. I was like,
Do you know
oh
what?
my
I'm
word.
like that. I'm too honest for my own good with something like that.
Well,
I'd have to,
I
because
wasn't honest. I wasn't honest, one. I just couldn't
no,
put.
but
I'm
you haven't
thinking,
got the you haven't
what
got the poker face
scenario?
like me to get
But I'm
away with
like,
it.
what scenario can I come to
Yeah, can you think what?
and be able
Yeah.
to say, what? Oh, I've never seen that. What's going on there? Because
You
clearly
put
at
the
the
blame
video,
on them. That's what you do.
but I've
The
had
big
to use the toilet while I'm in there, so I've got no way of getting around it.
No way.
Anyway,
Yeah.
they give us our money back, and I was delighted. They give us the
At
$400
least you got
back.
your money back, but you never
No,
got away
no,
with it,
no,
so
no.
you.
But I had to pay it. I had to pay two
Yeah,
hundred
you had to
dollars
pay for
to
the.
fit. I don't know why
toilet
ceramic.
seat.
I was going to say
Gee,
ceramic toilet seats
That's
don't
it.
go in
Some
B&Q
toilet
for
seat.
200 quid, do they?
Some toilet
So
seat. That.
yeah, lesson learned for getting absolutely bladdered
Yeah.
on your
Don't go and have a.
on your
Don't go
wedding
and
lesson
have.
night.
learned. You were in Vegas about 2 weeks ago, and those Vegas Dave was out to play. Don't
Well,
don't
there
be
you
giving me
go, mate.
this lesson learned.
You've seen a lot of that, mate. You've seen a lot of that. I mean, we
Well,
adore
I'm.
the place. We go there most years, like, so stuff like
I
that
love it
happens.
when you go there, Dave. It's
What's
great,
that?
great entertainment. I said, I love it when you go there. Your Instagram is incredible. Love it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna I'm gonna avoid the bog in Vegas, I think, from now on anyway, after that story. Next one in Maggie's round. And I'm gonna add these, there's two questions, but I'm gonna turn it into one. So there's like a two-part of this. So she said the first bit she said is, who would you add on your Everton block list? I'm assuming she means from Twitter to Blue Sky. So who would you add on your Everton block list? And the second part of this question is what's going to be the next big Everton social media war? Pete.
Well, it's a belter question, that isn't it? It's a
Well,
belter
I
question
mean,
because you think of how many down the years that's happened with.
There's always a kick off every now and again, isn't there? And just
see,
I'm going to prefix this before you answer it and say obviously we're not going to name names or say people who are on there. We're just going to say the
well,
situation
I
where
will.
people may argue. So yeah, who's going to be on your Everton block list? And
Well, do you know what?
what's the next big kick off?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I am of the opinion that there's a bit of an amnesty going on right now on Blue Sky. So to anyone who I mean, I don't really block people that often, to be honest with you. I'd
I
rather
don't.
debate people than block them. The
Yeah.
only people who get a block off me are cop-outs because they just do me head in. Also check out. I think it's Mike Gow has done a few like of these groups or whatever where you can either mass follow people or mass block people. And one of the lists that's available is cop-outs basically.
Oh,
So
really?
it's just a list. It's just a list of all cop-outs on Blue Sky, and all you do is select block all, and you never see them. It's great.
Mm.
So, you know, I don't think there's anyone I can think of who I'd want to block. Certainly not at the moment. As I say, bit of a restart for everyone.
So
Everyone's got another chance.
are we saying then, because I think I'm the only person who's an Evertonian who's not blocked by John Aldridge on Twitter. So are we saying then we're giving John Aldridge a second chance on Blue Sky?
No, he's on
Oh,
the
mate,
cop
you
out block
can't
list, isn't he?
talk to me. You can't talk
No,
to me
no.
about Aldridge.
I like. Do you know what? Right, I've met him a
You
few
used to
times.
drink
He's
in
been all
your
right.
pub, didn't he? You said, I
Yeah,
remember the
yeah,
story. He
yeah.
used
He
to
used
drink in
to.
your pub, didn't he?
I mean, I've seen allegations on Twitter that he's stingy. He used to tip me very well, and he was all right. So, but then I get it. But having said that, though, Aldo will probably be on my block list because I am using that cop out block list. So if he was on that list, he would be automatically blocked because that's what I'm abiding by.
I
Any
can
cop out who gets added to that block list, I block all. So yeah.
I can see
Sorry, Joe.
Dave not wanting to really answer this question, so I'm going to steer a little bit away from Aldridge. But Dave, we
He's all
listen.
right, Aldo.
I think I'm being kind, saying to you that you've been involved in the odd, should we say, war of words online on
Yeah,
social media.
just
What's going to be the next big Everton kick-off online? What do you reckon? I know we've had a
What a
little bit of
weird.
stadium. Yeah, war of words.
yeah, yeah,
What are we
yeah.
going to have? What are we going to be? Stadiums going to be to do with that. We have it every year about the kit. We have it about tickets a lot. We get a lot about tickets, don't we? What's going to be the next big kickoff? Everton kickoff.
Um, quite a boring answer to that. Firstly, is that'll be something to do with traveling to the grounds like Sandhills, and there'll be like thousands of fans who've got to walk from Sandhills to the new stadium or Kirkdale or whatever. Because I think there's going to be chaos for that to happen when we start next season. Because it doesn't even look like anything's being sorted out for any of that. So I think there'll be proper kickoffs and obviously the amount of because there's obviously going to be a car park there that you can pay for. You imagine the cost of what that's going to be to park your car near the new stadium is going to be ridiculous. But anyway, just going back to Aldo, who's a
I
friend of
tried
mine.
to get you away from it.
Yeah. But do you know what? He's I go as far as saying he's a friend of mine. I speak to him a lot because I worked with him for over a decade at Radio City. And he's hilarious. He is absolutely hilarious. And I know like every Evertonian probably hates him, like, but he has me blocked on Twitter
He
to
blocked you.
take to take the piss out of me, though. You know what I mean? Because like I'd start talking to him about Everton. I've messaged now and again, like, and he's taking the piss about Everton and stuff like
He's
that.
even blocking his mates.
Oh, nobody. He said to me, I said to him, "Why have you blocked me on that?" He went, "I'm just sick of you talking about Everton. Just sick of you talking about Everton."
He
And
didn't have to
and then
block you. Just unfollow you.
mate, honestly, every now and then he'll send me some piss takes, some like cop out meme or something like that, like taking the piss out of Everton like a 12-year-old. You know what I mean? But also, I mean, I'm similar to you. One, I don't block. I tend to mute.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
and I think that's a bit shitbag, but because there's people who are like there's good people on there who have had arguments with or a debate with. I like having a debate on there as long as it doesn't go too far. But the problem of Twitter is it does go too far, whereas it
Yeah.
seems like Sky Blue looks a little bit more of a softer touch, kind well, for now anyway. Do you know what I mean? It seems a
Give it time.
little bit more comfortable to do that. But going back in the second part of Maggie's question there about what do you think the next kickoff will be, I think we might see one resurface, which was, do you remember the group who tried to take the trademark of Banks of the Royal Blue Mersey? Do you remember this? I don't know if you
Vaguely,
remember this,
yeah.
Warren, several
Vaguely,
years ago. And
yeah.
it went that ridiculous, apparently. Well, they tried to get a trademark, but they said they had a trademark that you weren't allowed to say or write the words
Yeah, it was
Banks of
me.
the
I,
Royal
I
Blue
had, I
Mersey.
had,
Oh, was it you
I
had?
was the one who had. Yeah, yeah. It was
I
me
know. I
who
thought
actually
you
had.
know that just sounded like it was me who did it.
No, no, no. It was me. It was me who had the blazing row with them on Twitter, which
Didn't
ended
he
up
do it with the
going.
ale as well? Didn't he do it with the beer cans? Was that them as well?
Yeah, yeah. What what it was that some I think it was Toffee Art had posted something. I think he'd drawn Bramley Moore or something. He'd done something anyway, and he'd put in it hashtag on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey,
That's
and they
right.
Oh, there's a
replied to him
kickoff.
and basically said they said check our bio or something with like a wink, and in their bio it said trademarked on the banks of Royal
TM.
Blue Mersey. Anyway,
Hashtag
so basically what
TM.
happened was that yeah, yes. So yeah, literally. So then he went back and said, "All right, I was just well, like, and what? I haven't I haven't breached
And
your
what?
copyright. It's Bramley Moore Doc."
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of back and forth with them. So I jumped on it and basically just pointed out to them for one, they didn't have the trademark copyrighted because when they'd actually I went on to where they registered and they'd only actually registered the on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey separately. They hadn't registered anything like the hashtag or anything like that. Um I mean, forgetting the fact that they were trying to trademark something that we've
No, but
all
even I was going to say
said banned for
even
years.
that's not a trademark because like the
I know,
Blue Room,
but
we're a limited
basically
company. It doesn't stop
they
anybody from
threat,
saying the Blue Room. Do you know what I mean?
but they threatened. They tried to say to me that I'd be hearing from their lawyers, and I said, bring them on. I said because basically just said I'll wipe the floor with them. I
That
said
was a
you've got no
belter.
chance, and also if you're trying to sell stuff to Evertonians, probably best not to try and like alienate the
Yeah.
entire fan base
Most of
by
them.
Did
telling them
anyone
all
ever?
you're going to sue them.
I know you obviously don't drink, but did any? I wonder if any of our listeners ever got any of the cans that they were selling. They were selling ale, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I was at IPA or something.
Yeah,
I
something.
mean, but do you know what? I don't mind people having a go and having like, fit good luck to them if they're going to be doing that. And to be fair to them, what I would say is that they did back off eventually. I think whoever was actually running it probably had a few too many of their own cans. And once that wore off or someone else got hold of the account, there was a massive backtrack and massive apologies. So
And that was
yeah,
it.
it's one
Yeah.
of them. Good luck to anyone who wants to try anything like that. Fair play, good luck, crack on. But
Do you know what,
don't
Warren?
be
No,
uh,
the,
don't be
the one.
threatening to sue everyone you do
Well, I was
it.
just going to say the one more thing I'd add to Bramley Moore is as well will be where you get your seat. Um,
Well,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think ticket prices, season ticket prices for
but
next
yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, I mean, I think
Oh
That's the
that's
god,
boring
yeah.
answer. That's
yeah,
the boring answer.
it
But
is.
there's gonna be a kick-off about that, isn't there? And
Where I think
someone's gonna say, well, I can afford it, so it doesn't matter what you think. And then there's gonna be a whole
Yeah.
argument about
yeah,
that.
but I think more of where the area. Obviously, it's the South Stand, isn't it? That's going to be like the equivalent of
Oh, the
the
Gladys, is
Gladys
it?
Street, and yeah, I've seen a lot of people already saying, why don't we just basically pick up everyone who's got their ticket at the Gladys Street, basically put them into
Moving there.
the end that's meant to be.
Because it's the
I
wrong
just think
end.
we'll see a lot of people who aren't happy with firstly what position they're able to get left in the tickets, which everyone should be fine. I'm pretty sure they'll be fine in the end. People are just going to be panicking about that for no reason whatsoever when we have our first game there next season. But I think I hope there's no sort of holier than now kind of thing of I've always been in the Gladys Street, oh, the atmosphere is going to be crap if I'm not there, various sort of fan groups and stuff like that. I really hope it doesn't come to that, but I do think it will. Um, certainly on social media as well. And the other thing as well is I think we'll see like. I mean, it's funny. I was speaking to Les about this, where I think with his lads, he has to wait. So Les is on category A or category B, but his lads are on category C. You know, the 10-year one or less. So for him to sit with them, he has to wait until it gets to theirs in order to pick his seat, so they all stick together. Now, the thing where I think they'll be, obviously not with Les, just using that as an example, but I think you'll see a lot of people sort of saying, "Oh, that's wrong," and all. I just think the club itself are just going to have like days and hours and weeks on solving that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I could see a massive
it
kick-off on
comes with
social
the
media.
comes with the
Let's be honest,
territory
though.
of
What are they
moving
meant to
to
do?
yeah,
What are
it
they
comes with the
supposed to do?
territory of moving to a new ground, doesn't it? And I think there's going to be teething problems the whole way. I mean, what I will say, just a quick last thing on Bramley Moore, is I've very vocal about the fact I'd rather stay at Goodison, and Goodison's everything to me. But the more pictures that come out about and I see in the more videos, it's starting to look really, especially with the grass going in now. There was
Yeah.
a little thing a couple of months back, wasn't there, saying how it didn't look good and it was just another bowl stadium and all this, but it's starting to look really good now. So I think, yeah, we're definitely onto a winner with that stadium. The
Warren,
last one from,
I
Warren,
need to, I
hang
need
on,
to, I
hang
need
on.
to point out as well before we move on from this. I need to point out as well is that if people wanted to just do a like for like swap, then you've got the stands the wrong way around, because a like for like swap, the Gladys Street would be the north end,
North
not the
End, right?
south
Yeah.
stand. The south
Do you know
stand is
what?
actually where the park. The south
I'm as
stand is where the
petty.
park end is.
I'm as petty to agree with you, Pete, on that one. Absolutely
It's true.
agree.
Even the
Definitely.
shape
I'm
of
not.
it. If you look at the shape of that north stand, it is the Gladys Street with a big window
There you
behind it.
go. We're kicking off now about what ends. There we go. There's the
It
next big
literally is.
kickoff
You've got
yeah,
right there.
because of where the main stand is. The main stand. If you're sat in the main stand, the Gladys is on your left, the park end's on your right. In that new stadium, if you're sat in the main stand, the north end's on your left, the south stand's on your right.
well,
So
we've already
work
seen
that one out.
we've already seen that. What you mentioned there in terms of what people are seeing it when they're seeing it gradually grow, and the club put out images and videos and whatnot. Um, I have to say, maybe controversially, it didn't overwhelm me when I've seen and I've seen so many people saying it's just Schalke. You look at Schalke's ground; it's literally just Schalke. But then that's
German
nowhere
grounds
near
are boss
finished.
though.
That stadium, it's nowhere near finished. You know what I mean?
No, I
The,
think I
the,
think it's starting to look really
Yeah,
modern
the
now and
part, yeah.
really
you haven't
And
even put any of the
nice.
advertising orders. There's no people in it
Yeah,
yet.
no,
I
exactly.
think
That's it. And we
once
all
you
get a
start padding
chance,
it out, yeah,
but
it'll
you're
look
still going
good.
to see, as you've seen already on social, that's gonna get big in how many people criticize it and say it's crap, and others saying it's the best I've ever seen and all that.
Look, and do you know what? The other thing as well, we're only ever a draw or a dodgy defeat away from an online civil war, aren't we? So, I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll get the same again next weekend. But anyway, one more question from Maggie, and then we'll do one final question. So Maggie's final question from Maggie Round is, you get to chin one person from the last month. Who is it and why?
I'm
Pete. Pete.
a pacifist. I
Shut up! Don't be a shithouse.
if I mean the answer is surely always Jurgen Klopp. But he hasn't really done anything in the last month, has he? Sorry, you sound like David Coote then, didn't I? With wanting to punch Jurgen Klopp. I say yeah, no one's particularly annoyed me over the last month.
Well, that's a
Even like
nice way to
Ashley
be,
Young,
isn't it?
even
That's a
Ashley
nice
Young
way
and
to
Michael
be, a
Keane have been
nice way to
sound.
feel. Yeah, a
Yeah,
nice way to
even Ashley
feel.
Young and Michael Keane have been sound. So I'd give them a hug at this stage rather than give them a dig. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty chilled.
I'll
But
take that as an answer.
ask me again at the end of December after Christmas.
When we've had the dark nights really go into overdrive and then Everton having that horrible fixture list.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Dave, who you chinning and why?
I've got three of them all at the same time.
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche, Ian Woan, and Steve Stone. I'd obviously have to take Ian Woan's glasses off, but I'd probably put Ian Woan at the top of that. No one take offence to this because it is meant to be quite fun,
No,
isn't it?
we're not saying we're
Well,
really going to
maybe
go
not
out and
quite fun because
punch
no,
them.
yeah.
I actually would chin Sean Dyche, but he'd probably fill me in. But
I
with
say the three of them are probably pretty handy, to be fair.
Ian Woan is the absolute equivalent of Steve Round, who was
I
basically
can believe it.
Moyes' little part part two. You know, Moyes' little chum there who he'd always shout stuff at, and you know, I'll never forget when Steve Round ran on when we should have scored that. When we nearly scored that win in the 3-3 draw against Man United. And I don't know if you remember it, where Jagielka's running up towards the goal. He's still about 20, 30 yards away. But the referee blows the final whistle and Moyes runs on fuming. And Steve Round's behind him. And you can just see him literally trying to copy everything that Moyes is doing as well. And when Moyes was there, for all the League Cup fixtures, Steve Round come out to do the media rather than Moyes, which did my head in because it obviously shows that we weren't particularly asked about the League Cup. And it's a decent, nice fella, like, but you could just tell Moyes had given him a list of things to say. Do you know what I mean? He's at Newcastle now, I think, isn't he? I think he's at Newcastle with Jason.
He's at Arsenal, isn't he? With Arteta.
Arsenal. Oh,
Steve
yeah, that's
Rounds,
it. I think I mean, he's
you got that
done well.
Oh, actually, do you know what? I retract my answer. The one who had punches, that Tyndall fella from Newcastle. What a bell!
A great shout.
I've got his number here if you want to, genuinely.
Send me it.
Get a bear.
It is mad how, like, it is quite random how many people despise that fella, because I'm not too sure what he's done wrong.
I mean, I'm assuming at this stage he's playing up to it, but it's this obsession with trying to be in this. You know, he can't leave Eddie Howe. You talk about Steve Round. That Tyndall fella is like Steve Round on acid. It's mad. He's obsessed with trying to get like a right at the front of everything on every photo. Like you know, you're talking about like copying mannerisms and copying what people are saying. Like, I genuinely believe that the Premier League brought that new rule about assistant managers, where they're not allowed to just stand there on the touchline for the whole game. It's only one. I think it's only the managers allowed to do it now. I firmly believe that was because of Tyndall. I think they got sick of him. They just got annoyed by him because he's like,
do you know when you get a bully at school and you've got the little mate who's just a mate because they don't want to get bullied back? He's like that.
Up his ass, yeah.
He'll stand behind, and the fact that his nickname's Mad Dog. I mean,
no, but the other thing he does as well.
Nickname's Mad Dog, yeah.
It's in your phone, is it, Dave? Let's be honest. But you know what? The worst thing as well that does me head in about him, and this just sums him up. At the end of matches, what he kept doing, he'd walk out, like, obviously the managers shake hands at the end of the game. He would walk over in front of Eddie Howe to shake the opposition manager's hand. Now that for me is just going too far with that.
I'm feeling myself getting
got nothing to do with you. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I'm feeling?
He's clearly trying to look the part as well, isn't he?
I'm feeling myself getting angry by the very mention and the mannerisms of him. So I'm going to finish off with the last question.
I'm going to say, mate, I get in trouble if I say too much about the fella, because I'll probably end up having to do some work.
Well, look, here's a question from Chris to get us in a little bit of a good mood ahead of the weekend. So here we go. Chris, on this again is on Sky Blue, apparently, Dave. He said this. He's called Bon Jovi, came on the radio and work yesterday, which prompted the question, what or who is your favourite Bon? And he's given us some examples: Bonbons, Bourbon, Bonnie Tyler. Have you got a favourite Bon?
But Bonnie Tyler, it's probably a boring answer, but Bonnie Tyler, which is the one she sings?
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah, that is one of my favourite ballads of all time. I absolutely adore that.
It's a good karaoke one, that.
I sing it in the shower, mate. I sing it all around our house. I could actually sing it, not right now, but yeah, it's going a bit too far there. But yeah, Bonnie Tyler, but also Bonbons, mate. Oh, not for me. Them, do you know, one of them, like, they're quite chalky, aren't they? Before you lick them. For want of a better term, I don't know.
Bonbons have you been having?
Well, I was going to say, like, that's better than saying when you get them wet, but I don't know where I'm going with that. But you do.
Please quickly move on. What's your favourite Bon?
I think Dave should carry on with where he's going with this. I don't want to interrupt this moment.
I love Bonbons on a Friday night. Maybe I'll go back to, like, not a controversial answer and say, like, sounds even weird. I was going to say I'd wet them in a different way, but forget it.
Jesus. I'm just happy. I'm just happy observing Dave dig this big hole.
Dave,
building it with Bonbons.
Dave, the show.
I've got nothing. I clearly don't like Bonds because I can't think of a single one that I like.
So when I was in the States, I don't know if they've got
Bonfire
it
nights.
here.
I like bonfire nights. There we go.
Ah, that's a good one.
That's a great. Do you know what? And I was going to give mine because you didn't have one, but we're going to finish on that because that's a great bon. I'm not a big firework fan, but I don't mind a
Neither am I.
bonfire. So there we
Yeah.
go. Well, look, it's been quite a different mailbag this week in the sense that we've had a lot of random questions and very random chat, but I suppose that's what you get when you throw me, Dave, and Pete together. But my thanks to both Dave and Pete. The capable hands of Les Roberts will be back next week, the usual host. But hope you've enjoyed it anyway, and hope you enjoy your weekend, whatever you listen us to, your international free weekend anyway from Everton. I'd certainly be enjoying it. But you can catch us all again next week in the build up to Brentford. We've got is Blue Monday back, Dave? We're going to do
Got
Blue
Blue
Monday
Monday,
again.
yeah, back to our usual rota, mate. Blue Monday, you've got Byline with Martin Paddy.
Yeah,
At
the
the
brilliant
moment as well,
byline.
you've got the Good Times pod that came out this morning as well. If you want to have a good listen to that, that's one of our new features as well. So make sure you give that a go 'cause it's really,
I
really good.
listened to a little bit of that this morning, and it's a very good listen. I
Yeah.
highly recommend. So yeah, if you get a chance and you're stuck and you're a bit bored, give us a listen on that. And we'll also have the usual, the Shubs Weekly, your weeklies, and just as I said, all your build up going towards Brentford. So listen, have a great international break weekend. Everybody have a great week coming up, and we look forward to getting back to Goodison and seeing our beloved Blues against Brentford up those toffees. We'll see you next week.